Hey guys, thanks for coming. While we're letting everybody else connect, I'll just say that we are super excited that you guys are here, and we are super excited to be doing this awesome craft with you. As you guys know, we're doing the wood 3D personalized pumpkins. I think these pumpkins look great, super vibrant, super bold colors, lots of fun expressions and sayings you can put on them. So we're super excited to get rolling, and I'll be here to answer any questions. If you have any questions for Emma, just feel free to drop them in the chat and I will relay them to her. So Emma, if you're ready, I think I'm good to get started.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. So like Stephen said, welcome in. We're super excited to have you join us today. We are making these adorable personalized 3D pumpkins using all of the awesome products that Michaels has at their store. So like always, you can buy all of these products in store or online at michaels.com. So let's go ahead and we will go through what you will need to follow along crafting today. And I'd love to know, while I'm going over the supply list, everybody, if you are actually crafting along with us this afternoon, or if you're just watching to get inspired to craft along later, or what. So I'm dying to know that. So let us know in the chat. So of course you're going to need some faux pumpkins, these pumpkins. Michaels has my favorite selection of fake pumpkins. And if you are unfamiliar with fake pumpkins, they are obviously not real. And that's what makes them so great, is because they last forever. Unlike, traditional pumpkins that you would carve or want to paint, these will last forever. So you can put them in your holiday storage and then pull them out and have those memories of crafting. And they are obviously really awesome decor. So you're going to need your pumpkins, and next you're going to need your FolkArt acrylic paint. So the colors that we are working with today are orange, yellow, black, white, and this really pretty vibrant pink. But of course, if you prefer a different color, or you couldn't get your hands on one of these colors or whatever it is, then of course feel free to use whatever color that you wish to use. Next, we are going to need these wood letters. So these come in little alphabet packs at Michaels. So make sure you have these. That is what is creating our adorable 3D personalization on our pumpkins. Some like 1-inch flat paintbrushes, some water, and a hot glue gun. Any hot glue gun will work. All righty, guys, so let's get started. Before we officially start, Stephen, has anyone said if they're crafting along with us this afternoon?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Not yet, but guys,
Okay.
yeah, let us know if you're crafting along or if you're watching along for later. We would love to know, and we would love to get your input on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here comes one of the most fun parts. We get to pick out a word that we want to showcase on our pumpkin. So as you can see here, feel free to take some of these ideas. They're super cute. We have spooky and beware and boo, but choose your favorite Halloween related word. You could do eek or like 31. That would be cute. Something, Halloweenish, or even a family name. If you want to personalize it really custom to you, you can add your family name and then put this on your front porch. That is a great idea. But let's choose what letter we want to add to our pumpkin today. And the great thing about these wood letters at Michaels is that they have several different fonts to choose from. So we have these, more quirky kind of wiggly ones, and then we have these more traditional straighter fonts. All right, you guys, what word should we do today? And I'd love to also know in the chat, you guys, what word you are gonna put on your pumpkin or are planning to put on your pumpkin. Let us know.
Yep.
And so one thing that we want to be mindful of too is we want to be mindful of how wide our pumpkin is, because obviously that's going to dictate how much room we have to actually fit a word on there. So if you're unsure, you can just kind of hold your letters up and just try your best to eyeball it. So I'm thinking, with the size of our pumpkin and the size of our letters, I want to stick to about no bigger than a 6-letter word. Okay, so let's be mindful of that whenever we choose our word. And another thing, obviously, this is, feel free to ignore this, but we also want to think about how much space is being used, just so it's pleasing to the eye. So we might not want to have a 3-letter word because it might be a little bit of too much open space where there are no letters. So just something to think about when you're choosing.
Tracy says that beware would be a good word. I think that'd be good if you had like a spooky pumpkin.
Yeah, like this little guy right here, super cute.
Yeah.
I can't think of a word. Maybe I'll show you our beware one. B-E. W-A-R. And the great thing about these wood letter packs too is that the most common letters like, vowels and S's and T's, there are multiples of those, which is helpful when you're trying to form a word. All right. So what we're going to do first is we're actually going to start by hot gluing our letters to our pumpkin. So whenever I'm trying to space out a word like this, I like to first add my middle letter and then work, outwards left and right. So we have 2 middle letters since we have an even number of letters, and that's our A and our W. So we're going to go ahead and hot glue those right in the middle and then work outward to add the rest of our letters. So make sure your hot glue gun is on. I should have said that earlier because we're going to start adding our letters to our pumpkin with our hot glue. And don't add too much. We don't want any hot glue sticking out of the sides when we place him down. Okay, that's good on there. And you can either place your letters down really straight, or you can kind of place them each at an angle so that it's kind of wonky looking. That would make it a little bit more spooky, in my opinion. It's totally up to you. Stephen, are people saying what they're going to write on their pumpkins?
Yeah, they are. We're seeing people gonna write scare. Spider's a good one.
Cute.
Like there's some names on there too.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Awesome. Those are great ideas. Thanks for sharing with us.
Susan just said she's gonna write Hocus Pocus on her pumpkin.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. We were just talking about Hocus Pocus, the movie. But that is so cute to put on your pumpkin.
Kathy says she's gonna write R.I.P. Another scary pumpkin.
That's really cute.
Like
I love it. And put it in maybe a little graveyard outside for trick-or-treaters
Yeah,
to
that'd
see.
be great.
I don't know about you guys, but Halloween and just fall in general are definitely probably my favorite time of the year to make some crafts for.
Luke says that he knows Hocus Pocus and that he likes that movie. It's a good
Okay,
movie.
nice.
Good Halloween movie.
And once you get the hang of this, you guys, you can make a bunch of these and have a cute little Halloween color palette. And make sure, if you guys like this class today, we have a ton of Halloween inspired pumpkin and painting classes in the Michaels Community Classroom for the month of September and October. So make sure to stay tuned to register for those classes. We would love to have you there. and we're going to be doing some pretty cool things. All right, so now it is time to choose our color that we want to paint our entire pumpkin. And the great thing about FolkArt acrylic paint is that it dries to a matte finish. So you get this really chic looking, selection of matte pumpkins, which I think is, really trendy right now. But if you wanted to go for a more satin or glossy finish, just a more, something that has a little bit more of a sheen to it, then I would suggest going for our FolkArt multi-surface. That is a great option. We have a really awesome paint that just recently was released to Michael's called FolkArt Glossy. So that would be a really cute option to add to your pumpkin as well. So really it's up to you to choose what sheen you want, but I really love the matte style that are in these pumpkins. So that's what I'm gonna go for today. And I'm just gonna apply some of my, maybe need to take this off. I'm gonna apply some pink to my palette. And this part is super simple. This is great to do with some kiddos at home. We are just going to go ahead and base coat this pumpkin.
And Emma, do you think you could talk a little bit about what these pumpkins are made of? Because somebody was asking if they're glass, and they're actually like a plastic, right? Like it's some kind of.
These are just made out of plastic. Michael's has a fantastic selection of them. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but they're hollow. They're really lightweight and super durable, obviously. So yeah, they're great to craft with. And you can actually really carve with these because they're hollow and they are a pretty thin, like plastic material. So these are actually really fun to carve as well. I have painted quite a few pumpkins in my crafting career. And whenever I do, I never learn my lesson. I paint all the way around. And then when it's time to paint the stem, I don't really have much to grab it from. As you can see, I'm kind of trying to center myself with the stem. All right, so now that we've reached our letters, we're just going to paint those as well. Is that simple?
You just paint right over them.
Yeah, so we're just obviously trying to make sure that all of that orange pumpkin is getting pink. But it's so simple. We just want to go, once over our letters, and then we kind of want to touch up in those spaces of our letters. So like, the inside little loop of our R, kind of under our E. We are just really worried about the spaces that you're going to see from looking straight on. So we'll get the sides of our letters. Make sure we remove all of our hot glue.
Emma, how long do you think this might take to dry?
That's a great question. So this paint is going to be dry to the touch in about 15 minutes. But you'd probably want to let it cure. If you're just letting it air dry, you'd probably want to let it cure for about, 30 to 45 minutes before you go ahead and place your second coat. That way, when you do apply a second coat, you don't, the paint doesn't get gummy. That you want it to be totally dry before you go ahead and add a second coat. If you need to, you might not even need to.
Okay, here's a good question from Kathy.
All right.
Could we paint the pumpkin first, then hot glue the letters, and then paint the letters last, or would the glue not stick to the paint well?
That is a really great question. So when you're hot gluing anything or really adhering anything, it's best to do it without paint because, you know, obviously what the glue is going to stick to is the paint and not whatever material is underneath the paint. Sometimes if we're like gluing plastic to other plastic, we'll actually try to sand it down so that we get a really rigid, material so that the glue wants to seep into something and stick to something. So that's a great question. I would absolutely, you can totally do it like that. You can definitely paint your pumpkin and then paint your letters, but I would try to leave some of that area free of paint so that your letters are sticking directly to your pumpkin. And then you can touch up those areas once the glue is dry. That is a great question.
Awesome.
How's it looking, you guys?
I think it's looking good.
It's so cute. And I love that it's hot pink.
Yeah, we would love to know what kind of colors you guys are planning on painting your pumpkins at home.
Yeah.
Here's a comment that says these would be cute in a little 3-tier stack. And I think that's how we frame these a lot, actually.
Yeah, that is such a cute idea. And maybe have like 3 words that go together, or like your kids' names, your grandkids' names, or your pets' names, or just 3 really cute Halloween words. I love that idea.
Okay, here's a question, Emma.
All
Are
right.
there any fluorescent paint choices?
Yeah, so FolkArt has some really great neon and glow paints that are available at Michael's. So those paints are really vibrant, and the glow really does glow in the dark, and the black light really does glow underneath the black light. So those 2 paints are actually great for Halloween. They, charge in the sunlight, and then they really do glow. So if you haven't checked those paints out and you are planning on doing lots of arts and crafts for this Halloween season, then I would pick up a bottle of those to try. That's a great question. Thanks for asking that.
Yeah, it would be fun if you painted just the letters in glow so they glue like at night. Yeah.
And we have like a neutral glow paint too. So what you could do, this is a little extra, but if you were really feeling in the Halloween spirit, you could paint your pumpkin all solid one color. And then, like exactly like Stephen said, you could add that neutral glow just on top of the letters so that it looks pink in the light, but then when it goes outside in the dark, only the letters glow. That would be so cute.
It's a great idea.
All right, so right now I'm really just trying to touch up my letters, make sure that all the little edges that are going to be seen of my letters are painted and they're all pink. We don't want any white raw wood spaces.
Hey, Emma, somebody says that they would like to paint their pumpkin and letters in different colors. Will this still work? And I think the answer is yes. I mean, if you're worried about getting paint from letter to pumpkin in different colors, then just take your time and go slow with it.
Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. You're totally right. It will totally work. I might recommend painting each individual letter first, since you want your pumpkin. I'm assuming you want your pumpkin and your letters to be two different colors. I'd probably go ahead and paint my letters first. And the reason we didn't do that for this pumpkin is because we wanted it all to be the same color. And it was just a lot quicker to hot glue our letters first and then base coat the entire project. But I would probably, you're totally right. I would probably base coat your letters first.
And what do you think about using scrap paper on the words?
Yeah, that is a great idea too. I love that idea. Pick up some Mod Podge and trace the scrap paper on your letters and then Mod Podge it to your letters. That is a fabulous idea. I love that idea. It's looking cute. All right, now for the stem. I think the back is dry enough to touch it a little bit. Like we said, we have a lot of pumpkin classes in the Michaels Community Classroom this month and next month. So make sure to stay tuned to catch all of our awesome pumpkin classes. Last week, Jessie did a really cute pumpkin class showcasing how to make some loose line art flowers on your pumpkins with some details of really vibrant treasure gold. So that is on Michael's YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen that yet, or you were unable to tune into that one, make sure to go watch that. That is an awesome class. But we have great classes just like that one and like this one, like I said, this month and next month. So make sure to tune into those.
Yeah, I mean, that's good to know.
Yeah, of course, as well as we always do a Monday night paint night class with Michaels. And I will say that the paintings that are going to be coming up and the paintings for this month are very spooky and very fall inspired. So if you don't know, I should have explained that first. If you don't know, our Monday night paint class with Michaels is, like it sounds, every single Monday night. And we teach you how to paint a painting in just about an hour. And we have super talented artists that walk you through it step by step in a really easy to understand way. We have artists like Jesse Jennings and Andy Jones and Chris Williams and Kirsten Jones. So make sure to tune into that. It is a really fun time to do at home by yourself or with your kids or with some girlfriends or your significant other. So those are always a blast and we love doing them and getting to interact with you while we do it.
Okay, Emma, I have a question from Kathy.
Sure.
Okay, if these pumpkins go outside, do you need a different kind of hot glue or some type of spray that can cover the painted parts?
That's a great idea. So my favorite outdoor sealer is available at Michael's. My favorite is Mod Podge Ultra. So it is water resistant. So it can really actually withstand some of the elements that your crafts will be facing outside. So I would complete your pumpkin just like this. And if you're unfamiliar with Mod Podge Ultra, it is in the Mod Podge family, but it is not a brush on formula. It's actually a spray on formula. So you would craft your pumpkin like it is, and then I would go ahead and give a generous spray application to your pumpkin, especially where your letters are. And that will seal in your letters and your hot glue. It'll just really encapsulate your pumpkin. So that's a great question. And that's what I would recommend to use.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, you guys. So I think this is kind of a quick class, but it is super simple. So I hope it's been a fun one. Once this dries, I'm probably going to go over it with maybe just one more coat and then it'll be totally good to go. But before we leave, I want to show you guys the last step to just add a cute little finishing detail on your project. So let's go ahead and rinse our brush. And as you can see on these finished ones, we added some really cute splatter pattern that looks like it's kind of coming out of the bottom to just add to those fun fall Halloween elements. So like these ones, we did black and white. So let me know, you guys, real quick, get your keyboards ready if we should do black or white on this pumpkin. And we'll wait a second for you guys to type and I'll get them both ready.
Okay, we got 1 vote for black, 2 votes for black.
Okay.
Let's see. It looks like it's black. Everybody's saying black.
Okay, so let's do it. So like you can see, you guys, I already put black on my palette. Like I knew that's what you guys were going to say. So I put some black on my palette. And now what we want to do is we want to water it down a bit because we're wanting to, you know, create the texture that would make it make the paint really easy to be splattered. So let's move this aside. And it's okay, especially since we're working with black, it's okay to use this water that's a little bit pink because the black is going to overpower the pink and we're not going to get that much, you know, color from it. So we are dipping our brush in our water and then we are kind of mixing that into a little bit of our paint and we are looking for an ink-like texture. So you can kind of swirl it around. I have this on palette paper, and that's another thing I should probably mention. If you are working with like a paper plate and putting your paint on that, that's totally fine. But since we are introducing water to our paint and we are trying to thin it down, I would recommend maybe switching to a non-porous plate, like maybe some wax paper or a styrofoam plate or palette paper would be, you know, the best if you have it. But any kind of non-porous surface to apply your paint on, that would be best for this step. Okay, we are just mixing till we get that ink-like material, and I'm going to offload some of my paint because that is quite a bit of paint. Okay, so we're just going to apply about this much. Can you guys see that? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so a good bit. We're going to apply that to our flat brush. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold it by its stem and we're going to kind of go at it at an angle a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our thumb to rake the top of our brush. So I'll show you. You see it on the palette paper? I'm just raking my thumb over my brush. So I think if you gained enough confidence, go ahead and test it on your pumpkin. Okay, so as you can see, that gives you a really kind of tiny detail of splatter. But if you're looking for a more dramatic look, sorry, let me wipe my hand really quick so that it's not, doesn't look like I dipped my hands in ink. If you are looking for a more dramatic splatter, then I'm going to show you a technique on how to achieve that. So we're going to need 2 brushes for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and finish rinsing this brush. Okay, so we're going to apply some more black to our brush, maybe add a little bit more water, get some more paint in the mix. Okay, and what can we use to prop it up? We'll use a little bottle of paint. Actually, this will be fine. So what we're going to do, let me remove this tag. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to, you know, make sure nothing's in the way that you don't want to get paint on. Make sure your workspace is covered. I should say that before I start. So you're going to hold your brush that you don't have paint on in your non-dominant hand. And with your dominant hand, you're just going to tap your brush like this. We're making that splatter pattern. Super easy. Okay. So that will definitely give you some bigger splatters. And then you're left with something like that.
Super
How
cool.
cute. Yeah. So you guys, like we said, I don't want to bore you with base coating our pumpkin, but I'll probably go ahead and give this one more coat of our pink. So if you feel like your pumpkin needs that too, then by all means, feel free to do that before you add your splatter. I just wanted to make sure that I showed you guys that technique before we left. Like I said, if you enjoyed this class, make sure to tune into another one of our plaid classes here with Michael's Community Classroom. We are so thrilled that you decided to join us today. I had a great time sharing some tips and tricks with you all. We will see you next time. And until then, bye guys.
Bye.